Okay, welcome everyone. Hello. We're going to open up our afternoon session with Team Belmont Abbey, Quinn Beekwilder, and Lucas Lager. Quinn is the assistant professor and coordinator of the Motorsports Management degree program at Belmont Abbey, and Lucas is a student in that program. I was very intrigued actually by part of Quinn's title here called Advancing Motorsport History Education, which is something that on a somewhat non-academic level we try to do every day at the IMRRC. I can say that when we get Professor Green involved, it does go to a more academic level because Bill is a de facto student of the sport. But I'm very curious to hear what these gentlemen are going to tell us about their program. We welcome them. Thank them very much for making the trip.
Hey, Mark, you made it in time.
And
You're fine, you're fine.
okay, just a quick announcement. Someone has left a cell phone out on the table outside. Please check your pocket, whatever. And don't wait too long. Come get your program. Anyway, Quinn, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kip. Thank you. So, like the introduction said, my name is Quinn Beekwilder. I'm a professor over at Belmont Abbey College. I sort of found my way into this role, I guess quite strangely. I had a political science degree. I found myself in real estate around 2008 and then found out that, well, the market crashed. So revamped my whole life and found this program actually in a small Catholic liberal arts college in North Carolina. And they had just launched, and I moved my family out across the country and did the program, graduated in 2010, and then went straight to work at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I did tickets and I did digital marketing, and after about 10 years, was looking for a slightly different opportunity, and they said, well, you know what? The coordinator of the program position's open, why don't you apply? And so I did. And I find myself in the last 6 years teaching college students, being able to help guide them on the passion project that is their life. Because motorsports isn't just a job, it's a passion. You have to have it. It doesn't really make sense to get into something that you're going to lose money at, but we all do. I mean, we have 130 plus years of history of motorsports that shows that you lose money on this. It's not a money-making operation. But in the end, we're all here for reasons of our own, but we all have a passion for it, a drive for it. We get really excited when people start talking about motorsports, talking about particular cars, particular drivers, particular tracks, series, and so on and so forth. And it's really heartening to be around that every single day. I don't teach English, I don't teach philosophy, which are subjects that might be like pulling teeth for a lot of younger people. And so most of my students are all really excited about motorsports, and they're really engaged in the class, in the classes that I teach, and they genuinely have an interest in pursuing it. So for me, it's a dream job. And I kind of want to just give a little recap. When I first came to the symposium several years ago, thanks to Paul Baxa, who pointed out this program to us. Who was down at Ave. As Catholic colleges, we kind of talk with each other, and he was like, "Oh, have you heard of the symposium?" "No, haven't. What is that?" And so we've been coming ever since. And this year, a little bit later, we actually have a student who will be presenting as well, so we're proud of that. And so I'm going to give you a brief history recap about this program and kind of go on from there. And yeah, all right. So a bit of background. Oh yeah, move this way. So our founding was really with Humpy Wheeler. So Humpy Wheeler is kind of instrumental in the sport. From a very young age, he was selling tickets to bicycle races, was doing promotions for the early Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is originally outside where the airport is currently located, before it moved to its new location in 1960 up in Concord. But he was a lifelong resident of Belmont, which is the town where our college is. His father was an instrumental coach in our early days of sports at Belmont Abbey, and so the Wheeler Center is kind of the gymnasium name. And so he grew up around the campus. He went to the kind of parochial school that was at the campus at the time too. and graduated from it as well. And so he ends up in, with Firestone, and after that he comes back to Charlotte in 1975, and basically from 1975 to around 2008, he's the president and general manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and basically kind of revolutionizes the idea of having a pre-show and a pre-game almost for NASCAR, and kind of making it the spectacle that it should be. So when he was coming to the end of his career, he was realizing there are a lot of business savvy people that come into the industry that don't really have an appreciation or understanding of what they're really getting into. They don't realize the hours, they don't realize the dedication, they don't realize that you can be out there when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's 110 degrees, you're still in pants, you're still in a tie, it's not comfortable, it's long hours, long days. And the family and the people who are around you almost become more of a family than your own family at times. And, so a lot of folks were coming into the industry and they're having to find they had to kind of educate them on this, and they were losing people. The turnover was pretty high. And so he kind of approached Belmont Abbey, which had been close to his heart, and said, we should really offer a bachelor's degree. We should kind of open up the doors, invite those that are passionate about motorsports to come here to learn and to earn a degree and to kind of go right into the industry itself. So that worked. 2006, he offered the idea. By 2007, we offer our first class. For the first several years, we offer a concentration in motorsports with our business degree. And then by 2012, we offer a full bachelor's degree in motorsport management. And when I came back to the school after my time away, we had about 9 students in the program, like all 4 years. So wasn't doing the greatest, but over these last 6 years and through some great initiatives and support from the school, we are now up over 60 students who are across our 4 years. So we've had record numbers of people coming in every August, and it's just been a joy to watch. And unfortunately, we did lose Humpy earlier this year. Late last year in September, he was actually able to come out to the college, and that's the photo you see down there, is actually of Humpy and his daughter Patty Wheeler, who came out to the college, and then all our student body who were just in the motorsport program themselves. So we're really happy that we can make that happen, because we did lose him, not too long after that photo. So he still lives in our mind and kind of is our touchstone to why we're doing the things we do with the degree. The early intent was really, kind of with a very NASCAR-centric focus. 90% of all NASCAR teams are located in and around the Charlotte region. They all need people to work the businesses. And so we thought we'd be a pipeline and to kind of go traditionally just straight into, just moving forward traditionally into that role and to kind of fill that niche. What we have found is that, I've kind of brought in a lot more perspective to be more broader in scope. A lot of our students do end up starting out in NASCAR, but because of the size of the motorsport industry is what we also wanted to kind of, spread the gospel about as well. We have folks that are in parts and pieces from tires to shocks, to kind of marketing programs where they're supporting either a driver, a team, a track. So there's so many opportunities, and we try to kind of educate students on that as well, and not just say, don't worry if Hendrick doesn't pick up your resume on the first go. There's also the Xfinity's, O'Reilly series now, and the Craftsman Truck series, and then there's all sorts of dirt and IMSA, NHRA, and just open up your eyes, folks. There's a broad world out there. And kind of earlier, I touched upon it earlier, we also try to teach the students that it's not just showing up, that you show up for a day of work, could be 6 in the morning, goes till 10 o'clock at night. So they're not average hours. They're definitely can stretch you by that means. And our internships that we do require, we originally started with required 3 internships that try to broaden their horizons to be able to see what it's like either with a team, a driver, a series, because those are all sorts of different lifestyles that you can have within motorsports. And so motorsports history is kind of a real big passion of mine. And I was really fortunate that I kind of got to mold the program to kind of what I wanted to teach, what I found interesting, what I wanted to kind of put out there. And yes, we do kind of focus on NASCAR because, we are surrounded by so much of NASCAR around us that it kind of speaks to us, just historically speaking as well, because we're so into it. But we do try to broaden everyone's horizon on what is out there as well, because we do, with NASCAR, we're able to teach about, go down to Florida and actually go see the Streamline Hotel. It still stands to this day. We're able to talk, we're able to go see the original Beach Road course area that is down there that so much history was made at. But we're also able to kind of expand their horizons. We talk about Le Mans, we talk about Monaco, Mille, from Senna to Schumacher to Fangio, but also Garlitz and Parks and Foyt and New Villari and more. We definitely try to expand their horizons and show that this is a tapestry. It's not a silo. Motorsports is not just one thing. It covers the entire globe. It spans 130 plus years of history, and there are so many niche areas of it that you can get excited about a lot of different things. And it really helps kind of expand the minds of our students so that when they approach an NHRA team, they understand what they're talking about there. If they approach a NASCAR team, they get it. If they talk about F1, they talk about World of Outlaws team, an IMSA team, they have an understanding and a background to kind of say, oh, okay, I know where you're coming from, I know where you started, and it's not just like an unappreciation of kind of what has come before you. So that's what we believe in. I really believe passionately in sharing that history with them. And then what's also really exciting is that we're able to launch the first in the nation master's degree in motorsport management. And so we have taken, recently the school has been able to be accredited to teach master's degree level courses. We did start with an MBA program with a concentration in motorsport management. And just this fall, we were able to kind of convert that into a full Master's of Arts program in motorsport management. So courses are 100% online. It's designed for a lot of different folks who are working professionals, who may never had the chance to, after their college degree, they went straight into work with motorsports and would like to continue their education, or who are changing careers and find themselves at a higher level and can't just drop down to an intern and go sweep floors somewhere and kind of redo their whole career. That's kind of what we're finding are the folks that are approaching our program. We had a target goal in mind of how many students would show up for the first semester, for the first year of a brand new program. And we were pleasantly surprised that now we have over 20 master's degree students in our first semester. So we were kind of shocked. We're definitely dealing with that, taking it on our shoulders, which is fantastic. And a lot of responses were, is it for real? Because there are a lot of programs out there you might find on LinkedIn, or if you go searching, it might be a certificate, or it might be just not really a fully accredited, master's degree that's, SACS approved. We are definitely setting a new benchmark for motorsports education. Many of us who do have our master's degree in the area have to have it in sports. So it's not necessarily focused per se. We end up, doing our theses on motorsports and being like the most interesting conversation they've had in a long time, because all they hear is stick and ball stuff. So that's kind of nice to hear. With that being said, we're also, we reach out to the kind of a little bit slightly older generation. And we were proud of this one. So that was Chase, who was also able to receive his, he was part of the MBA program, received concentration. So we were able to give him his degree award ceremony at the Rolex this year in January. He was working with FAF Motorsports. So it was kind of nice that we were able to kind of give him his degree while he was on job. So that was one of our early success stories in our master's program. And we also wanted to kind of reach a younger generation too. We know that high schoolers can be avid motorsports fanatics, and there are not many, there aren't too many high school guidance counselors that are saying, hey, you like motorsports? Guess what? There's a motorsport degree program. That doesn't happen too often. We're about one of only 3 in the country. We're still pretty niche. We feel that we're the best in the country, but still. And so our high school program called Accelerate Abbey. It was a week-long summer camp that we held this past July. We were able to bring around about 10 students, kind of applied and kind of showed up for the first session that we ran, and we had a blast. We kind of did a mini kind of professional development class that we do. We met with a lot of alumni who opened up their doors. Steve, who works with actually Jeff Gordon Incorporated, so he was able to give us a tour around the Hendrick facility. Went out to Millbridge Speedway, did the summer shootout, saw a lot of the garages with the Legends cars. We went to RFK. We did Ford Performance Racing School with a couple other alum who were working out there. And it was just really gratifying to see a lot of alumni taking their time out of their summer and saying, yeah, sure, go ahead and bring 10 or 12 high school students here and we'll talk to them. And so it was really cool. It was nice to see that we could offer this opportunity to have them live on campus, experience what it's like to kind of begin their motorsports journey, and then hopefully choose us as their college of choice moving forward. So we're excited about the master's program, our high school program that we're now starting, all within the last few years here. And what's also really exciting, and we'll speak to more, is the gifts that we have been receiving along the way. Okay, one more. So, Dawn, this might look familiar to you. These used to all sit in your house. And so, through a very generous donation and through our meeting here at the Argetsinger Symposium, Colonel Donald Capps was able to donate his personal motorsports collection to our school. So our fantastic librarian, Alexis Lynn, was able to take down a 20-foot box truck, spend a day or two packing up his collection, taking out the bookcases, and hauling it all to our own library, which it's now being cared for. It is made it out of the truck. It is up on shelves and waiting to be cataloged and processed into the Don Capps collection that we'll be featuring at our library. So thank you, Don, for your generous offer. So we appreciate that. And that's what we're excited about. We have now even more to offer students a chance to actually touch a lot of material that is out of print, may have only been printed once or twice. It's can be quite expensive to purchase on your own if you can find a copy of it. And so to have this as our collection and to be able to kind of point students toward it and say, hey, you have a lot of first source material that you can now utilize to write papers and to explore with. And so looking forward to what comes out of that here in the future. Moving on, was also a very pleasant surprise is that since my time at the Abbey, I've kept in contact with some other fellow alumnus over the years who have had some great careers in motorsports themselves. And so in talking with them and over the last 6 years having students graduate, enter the industry and start working themselves, but I'm able to actually reach out to them. And just this past semester, I was able to kind of take a day off teaching. And both classes I was teaching that day, our social media class and also our introduction to motorsport class, were taught by alumni. They came back from their jobs and they said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And they made their own presentations, they spoke, they were nervous, they were like, did I do all right? And I was like, you did just fine. They were able to interact, share stories, and it's a real pivotal touch point to be able to show that it works. If you stick with it, if you do the program, if you work hard, if you keep your nose to the grindstone, the opportunities are put out in front of you. I never promise a student a job. I always say I will put every opportunity I can in front of you, and it's up to you to go ahead and make it happen. But we're probably your best shot at getting into motorsports. And some students embrace that, and others don't. But so it really kind of touched my heart when the alumnus come back and go ahead and offer their time and their knowledge and their experience and want to give to that next generation. And it also really kind of builds this network. We always talk about motorsports being a very small world. Like once you get into it, you're going to be bumping into the same people year after year after year, maybe in different positions, different roles, but usually it's the same group of folks that you'll be spending time with over the next 10 to 20 years. And we want to start that off early so that even when they're a freshman or a junior, they're talking to fresh, newly graduated students a year or two out, and are able to kind of have that soft, touch point to be able to say, hey, you were just in the program, I'm in the program now, what's it like? Can I talk to you? Can I take you out for coffee? And you can, what was your secret? How'd you succeed? And so, it's been we're really fortunate in that regard. And, that was a big shift in mentality too. I really want to bring more students, back to the Abbey to kind of as alumnus to teach about their positions and what, what they do for a living now. And, there we go. And that was a big shift also. Prior to my coming, the program had attended events sporadically. It wasn't purposeful. It was opportunity occurred. Let's bring students out to it. Let's, show them off, and let's, kind of head and do the program. And so I made it my goal to really take students from the classroom and actually go into the world of motorsports through the trips that we do now, through volunteering, through volunteering at events, through internships, and just purposefully taking them out for very long days and kind of giving mini working days. So that they can get used to it, so they can see what it will take, to actually be on your feet all day, walking multiple miles. Just because you're at a racetrack and you have to go from one garage to another, it doesn't sound like much, but when you have to go from parking lots to garages to infields to outfields, and if you don't have a shuttle, you have to be, you have to have good shoe support. It's a lot of miles. You trek up and down a lot, and just to kind of expose them to that early on, and to say that this is what it's going to be like. Do you still want to do this? We give them every chance to kind of experience that. And so, but it gives them a confidence. It gives them that sense of professionalism, gives them an opportunity that they can go up to an individual who is working an event or working at a racetrack and introduce themselves and talk to themselves. Talk to them and, learn more about their experiences in motorsports and take that back with them, and hopefully, gain some insight out of that. And so, I'm really proud of kind of like, over the last several years, this is kind of just a sampling of eventually. Okay, maybe not. Slight technical difficulties, folks. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So this is just a shot of some of the trips that we've taken, some of the places we've gone, some of the internships and opportunities that students have had over the last several years. We had a student participate in the Sparks program down with the Motorsport Hall of Fame of America down in Daytona. He interviewed Ken Clapp, and then Ken said, "You did such a phenomenal job. Why don't you come out to the Indy 500 with me?" And that was Severin. So that's a hell of an offer. I wish I could have done that. But so Ken Clapp brought him out and showed him all around. So he got to experience that. And the nice part is, kind of the middle left picture is also Severin, who graduated and got a job with the World of Outlaws. And so just this past, earlier this November, he actually called me up and said, "Hey, can I lead a group of students around the World of Outlaws and kind of teach you about that and show the students around the paddock?" And so, it's great that, he's only a few months out from graduating, and so are already kind of contributing back to the program. We take, like I said, you can see us down at Orman Garage. Take folks down there. We have a class that goes to the Rolex 24. We also do the St. Petersburg race with Indy cars, and we do the 4-wide nationals up in Charlotte. We expose them to all different types of motorsports and people and jobs that they can work in. And we're really thankful that we're able to do this on kind of a shoestring budget, but it works. and then let's see. So motorsports, the whole package with motorsports history, as well as, thank you. It's really the foundation. They have this kind of understanding of where where the sport has been, where it's going currently, Where it can go in the future is still, kind of the big question. But at least they have that. They have that foundation, they have the understanding, the experiential learning that incorporate going out, volunteering, meeting these folks early on in their kind of motorsport careers is also, definitely foundation moving. We also have to take a class out to PRI. So we'll be going out in the next 2 weeks to, the convention up in Indiana. And, involving alumni back with the program, it's creating this just a whole ecosystem of kind of support from the day they get on campus throughout their 4 years on campus to the alumni support post, and, through mentoring programs as well that, we just really try to set everyone up for the best chance in getting into motorsports that they can. Moving on, what is next for us? What would we like to do? Definitely digitizing and expanding our archives, taking what we have from the Don Capps collection, trying to make it an open resource. And, definitely be reaching out to the Revs Institute more and more to try to work on this same process as well. Continue to invite alumni back, seek additional donations and partnerships. Kind of what we were speaking to earlier, doesn't matter where it goes as long as where it ends up, it's kept safe and is used and is kind of broadening the knowledge base for everyone moving forward. And definitely seeking partnerships. If you have a passion and you want to give back, come talk to me. And finally, I just love to keep the conversation going. I show great gratitude and appreciation for the Argetsinger community that has, inspired me over these last 4 years of attending. The friends that I've made here and the conversations I've had, and the support and the, ability to kind of share back with my students and to kind of build from this foundation and to keep moving forward is extremely exciting, and I can't wait for the future years to come. Thank you for